let's talk about this whole concept of Kanban, not Kanban. Some people say Kanban. I don't care what you say, but it's called Kanban. At least I think it's Kanban. So Kanban just means visible record. It's a Japanese word that means visible record. And historically, Kanban was used in a manufacturing facility, still used this way by several companies today, to where we took what we call Kanban cards, and these cards were moved and placed to give authorization to actually move a container of parts and things of that nature. So in a general sense, we have a few types of Kanbans I like to discuss. Single card Kanban and a dual card Kanban. When it comes to a single card Kanban, we have two types. We have what we call conveyance Kanban or C Kanban, and it's simply the authorization to move a container of parts or material. Without it, nothing should be moved. And then we have production or P Kanban, production Kanban. And this is just the authorization to produce sub-assemblies. And without it, nothing should be produced, right? So when these two cards are used in conjunction, we have what we call a dual Kanban card system. One of the major advantages is that you have greater control over production as well as inventory, because both production and the withdrawal of inventory are directly connected to the need of the customer. So these are often used together in the manufacturing facility. Now, again, these are physical cards that one employee moves from one location to give authorization to someone else to move a container. So imagine someone working on assembly line, and their job is to screw a plate on the side of a motor. That's their job all day. Eventually, they're going to run out of plates. Eventually, they're going to run out of screws, right? So when they get low in screws, they can take that Kanban card, place it somewhere that gives authorization to, let's say, a material runner. They can now take that bin, go somewhere in the warehouse, refill that bin with screws, and bring it back to the employee. That way you don't have to stop production. But that material runner is not going to do anything until they get authorization by the employee placing that Kanban card in the specified location. Same thing happens with P Kanban or production Kanban. If there's, let's say, alternators have to be made, place that Kanban card. Now this team knows that they can produce more alternators, and they'll produce those alternators, and then they will bring them to the specified location. That's frankly how the Kanban system works in the manufacturing facility. However, there's another type of Kanban that I'm going to mention that is called electronic Kanban or e-Kanban. So now in this digital age, everything has gone digital or electronic, right? So it's not so much about placing cards in physical locations to give authorization of parts, because if we're working in a 200, 300,000 square foot warehouse, I can be on one side of it and I can send an electronic signal to let the material runner know, who's already on the other side of the warehouse, that I need more screws of a specific part. And he'll get that alert, or she'll get that alert, and then bring those parts back whenever they have the time. So it's just communicating in a electronic way, right? Sending a digital signal or an electronic authorization. And this is done by just scanning barcodes or maybe an app or even a text message. It's just based on the company, right? But e-Kanban is probably more popular or more useful in the environment in which we work and play in today. So, key takeaways. Kanban just means visible record. It is the authorization for someone to move a container of parts or to produce sub-assemblies. You have a single card Kanban that includes conveyance or C Kanban or production or P Kanban. When they're used together, that's called a dual card Kanban system. And we also have what we call e-Kanban or electronic Kanban, which is just the same as P and C, but done through barcodes and scanning and electronic authorization to move a container of parts.